Welcome to Coffee and Commercial, your source for positive, caffeinated information, inspiration, and motivation. I'm one of your hosts, Kris Gunewardena.
And I am Carlos Ascencio.
And today we'll be covering commercial listings and how to be successful in listing commercial property.
We will be sharing a lot of great golden nuggets here to help you increase your commercial production.
Today we're going to be going over what it takes to be successful in listing commercial real estate. As we're in this evolving economy, you're going to see a lot more opportunities. If you're a real estate agent that's doing residential, you're going to see a lot more opportunities for commercial real estate. And you need to be armed with the right tools to be successful in listing a commercial property. So I want to go over a quick listing guide that we've created. If you'd like to get more of this content, please direct message us and we can send you this free of charge. But what you got to look at first is how to generate your leads. Now, a lot of times what people focus on when trying to get into commercial real estate is getting the understanding, and that's great. You want to make sure that you have the right tools, but you have to look at how are you going to generate those leads. The first place to look is your sphere of influence. If you've been in the business for any length of time, or you deal with business owners on a consistent basis, you really have access to all the leads that you need. But people need to be aware that you are successful or that you have knowledge in commercial real estate. So that includes contacting any of your CPAs or people that deal with businesses on a regular basis, anybody that does business planning, financial advisors, anyone in the banking industry can be a great source for leads. The next is social media. So this is one of the reasons we created Coffee and Commercial, is to create awareness for our brand and for what we do. So getting out there, making sure that you're doing commercial real estate in front of people. If it's a tip of the day or if you're in front of a building and you want to advertise it, just do a quick social media post and put it up on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn to get that maximum traffic. The other way that you can advertise is by doing mailers, cold calling, and picking a target market. One thing that we want to emphasize is you have to be consistent in the way that you market yourself as a commercial realtor. You don't want to go in too many directions at one time because you won't develop the traction that'll make you successful. When you're qualifying a lead after you're generating them, you got to understand what it really takes to know if someone really has the right motivation to list commercial property. A lot of times people are ready to waste your time. So to make sure that you don't allow them to waste your time, you got to qualify your leads. The way that we do that is you want to find out what is the motivation for this commercial building owner or commercial property owner. You want to make sure that they have the right motivation to sell. A lot of times people are looking to get out of owning multifamily properties. We're dealing with a lot of older age owners that have been multifamily owners for several years and they want to get out of that game. That's a good motivation. Or you have a generational pass down of commercial real estate and maybe the younger generation doesn't want to inherit that property. They'd rather take the profit and use it for something else. That's a good motivation. It could also be that someone needs to expand their business and maybe the current space they're at doesn't meet their needs. So they need to downsize. These are all factors that let you understand what the motivation is. Timeline is key. When we look at what someone is looking for as far as a timeline, we got to make sure that it is something that they want to complete in the next 90 to 120 days. That's going to be a good window of opportunity. Next, you want to look at the property condition and opinion of value. A lot of times, sellers have the most inflated view of their property value because everyone thinks their property is the best on the market and theirs is worth so much more than everything else. But we want to be realistic. And that's part of qualifying the lead. You also want to look at what is the payoff or prepayment penalty. We don't see that much in the residential market, but in the commercial market, prepayment penalties are ubiquitous across all types of commercial loans. So you're going to have a prepayment penalty for any loan that gets paid off sooner than 3 years. Some are even, if you pay it off sooner than 5 years, you have a prepayment penalty. Now that penalty goes down or declines the longer that you have the loan. So you want to make sure of what is your client's position on the prepayment penalty so you can understand what other hidden costs they might have if they were to sell that property. The other thing that you're going to need is the financials, the rent roll, the expenses. If you're going to be selling an investment property, you're going to want to make sure that you give all the information that is going to be needed for someone to analyze the cap rate and understand what that property is really worth. You have to be confident, calm, and assertive in getting appropriate property information. If that seller, that property owner is not willing to give you the information that you need, and they're difficult at the point of getting the listing, they're going to be difficult during the transaction, and they will most likely be difficult during escrow when you sell that property. You definitely want to set an appointment for a listing presentation at the end of your initial interaction. You want to get as much information as you can and see that property in person. Make sure that you close the deal. The next thing you're going to want to do is analyze the market and really understand what's going on in that niche. Now, our office is located in the city of Diamond Bar, and we have big industrial sectors in the city of Chino and the city of Industry. So if I'm going to be listing a property in this local area, I have to understand what exactly is going on in the local market, looking at active, pending, and sold comps, understanding what is the zoning, confirming building square footage. There have been many times that sellers have developed the property, added mezzanines or other square footage to the building that's not reported to the county. So the county may have a different square footage on record than what the building actually shows. So you need to confirm that so you understand exactly what you're going to be listing. Always compare properties with similar use and zoning. If your property that you're listing is light industrial, you cannot compare it to a property that has a heavy industrial or manufacturing usage noted on the zoning. You want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. You can also use expanded search radius to include entire submarket areas. Usually in residential, you go with the 1 mile radius. In commercial, you can go up to 5 to 10 mile radius if that helps you to get a valid comp. The other thing that you want to do is get a commercial appraiser to evaluate the property to make sure that you're placing the right value. The other thing this can do is it can eliminate questions going back and forth between you and a seller arguing over what the true value is. When you bring in a third-party independent appraiser that has experience evaluating that type of commercial property, it can help you to create a value that is agreeable by all parties, and it also eliminates issues as you proceed to listing the property and getting it into escrow. For the rest of this, I'm going to turn it over to Carlos Ascencio.
Hello, everyone. Krisanti shared some really good information here with us in regards to how to qualify a lead for a potential seller. Now, when it comes to working with sellers, sometimes, like Kris said earlier, a lot of sellers will inflate their property values based on what they think they know. So it's always good that if they can consult with a professional like us or our team, we can definitely guide them to capture the correct value for the sale of their building. Now, some of the details that we share with our clients of going over their the criteria of their buildings, of course, we ask them to kind of describe to us the conditions of the property before we go out there, so that we can kind of create some notes on what to expect when we arrive, so that we can kind of create our own analysis of list of items that we probably need to review when we walk the property. Some of the other information that we do also ask them is to give us a list of all the improvements that they've done within the past 12 or 24 months, because then that way we can kind of consider added value to the property as well. Other observations that we also kind of consider, and we ask them to see if they know of any redevelopments that are going around in their specific location, because sometimes the cities do rezone the areas, and that information is key because that can also maybe increase their value depending on the new use for the new zoning ordinance that the cities will implement for the surrounding areas. Now, discussing the marketing strategies. In the residential world, a lot of people will use, different platforms, but when it comes to the commercial, it's more data-driven information that is used for marketing. Some of the platforms that we use, of course, we have professional photographers and videographers that we hire to kind of do professional videos that we use for social media, for YouTube channels, and also for CoStar and Krexkey listings when we upload them. Another software that we also use is called Crowd. Now, a lot of people ask, like, what is Crowd? Crowd is a software that allows us to create what we call offering memorandums. What an offering memorandum is, it's actually a template that allows us to add all the information to the details of the property, the demographics, the traffic counts, and if the property is actually investment, we can highlight all the income and expenses for that particular property. Now, at any time when we activate a listing, we get a lot of commercial brokers that will ask for a setup sheet or an offering memorandum. And that's what CREAP software does. It creates those documents that a lot of these commercial brokers will ask for. Now, another thing too that we also do is that we have a list of lender partners that we actually associate with on a daily basis in regards to new financial products that are available for investment properties or for owner use. So we usually get together with them to kind of put a flyer together where it comes to the putting the numbers together so that in case if an investor comes in or an owner user wants to know more details about the type of financings available for these properties, we actually work with our lender partners to kind of create those templates that we can provide to either a consumer or a commercial lender as well too. Sorry, I just got spaced out there for a second. Now, CoStar. CoStar is one of the biggest platforms when it comes to promoting commercial listings. They are a nationwide database that allows us to expand the exposure of our listings. Now, with CoStar, we have noticed a major difference compared to other listing platforms. We've had people from Mexico, we've had people from the East Coast calling us on some of our listings because CoStar is such a big system that is used in the commercial sector for inventory when it comes to buying or selling. So we use a lot of the CoStar data as well too when we're actually doing research on certain properties. So CoStar is a big necessity if you're going to jump into the commercial world. Now, when we start moving into discussing the assessments of the property and price, again, going back to the discussion that we're having with the sellers regarding the actual conditions of the properties, we then try to visit the property where we try to secure an appointment with the actual sellers to kind of get like what we call a walkthrough or tour of the property, because by us understanding more of what the property has to offer and the conditions that it's currently in, the understanding of that information along with the analysis of the current comps will help us justify a certain price point depending on where we have to be at to meet the seller's expectations. Now, the market analysis and comps, we normally try to go as far as, minimal 5 miles, but when you can't find similar like properties, then you can stretch it out as far as 10 miles. But again, you got to compare an apple to an apple, making sure it's the same type of zoning of the building that you're going to list and along with the same type of use. So it's very, very crucial that you definitely do verify all the comps available in order for you to actually price out the property accordingly. Now, recommended list price, again, once you gather all the data, then it's going to allow you to actually have that conversation with the seller to see where is it that they want to be at, and based on your data, where the price needs to be at. Because sometimes when it comes to working with sellers would always want their price, but in reality, in today's market, we have to go based on the data that we see because that's what's going to dictate the price, not their price, but the data price. Now, when it comes to signing a listing agreement, normally for certain listings, we usually try to have a contract for a minimal 6 months up to a year. And the reason why we try to go longer, it's because commercial properties can sometimes take a little bit longer to sell depending on where the market's at. In today's market, we have been seeing that a lot of the listings, depending if they're priced accordingly and correctly, they will, they can be on the market for at least about 4, 5, or 6 or 7 months before you can start attracting offers. We've had the luck of actually listing properties, and we've been able to get them into escrow within 2 to 3 months. But that's just us. But also the market will dictate of where the traffic of all these offers will go. Right now, commission-wise, when it comes to listing a commercial property, it's basically, it's a little bit different again for residential, where for us in the commercial sector, we've charged anywhere between 5 to 10%. Yeah, 10%. I know that you're puzzled out there when you're saying, whoa, 10%. It depends how fast and how desperate the sellers are that they want to get rid of their properties, depending on their situation. They're moving out of the area. They need to increase space size, and they just want to get their property sold because they're already in escrow on a different property. But we've seen commissions all the way up to 10%. But again, every commission is negotiable depending on what you want to do. And if you want to work for free, that's up on you. But, for us in our team, we make sure that we coach them to where they need to be at least minimal 5% all the way up to 10%. Now, when it comes to working on your listing presentation, it's very important for you to make sure that you have all your facts. Sometimes when it comes to putting a listing presentation, it can take us 2 or 3 days just to put all this data together. And we also do more thorough research with other partners that we work with. So if you guys have any questions or you guys have a listing that you guys want to work on, feel free to contact me or Krisanti. We're always going to be here to help you guys and guide you guys in making sure that, we can help you increase your business. Or if you're a seller and a buyer, we're here to help you out as well too, to expand your commercial portfolios. We hope that all this information was very helpful to you guys. So in case if you guys are wanting to know more information, there's topics that you guys would want us to talk about, please message me or message Krisanti. We'll be more than happy to put more content together based on your commercial needs. Again, we're just building here a community to help you grow your business.